welcome everybody that is joining us for day 2 of the summit. We are having some tech difficulties this morning, but I think we are good. I think we're live now in the Facebook group for those of you who are joining either from the Facebook group, you're watching the recording, or you are here live with us. All right, we're live. Yay! Okay, perfect. So we are going to go ahead and just get into it. I am going to start us off today by talking about really harnessing your time and your energy by understanding your genius. We're going to talk about what this looks like for you as an individual, and also if you have a team of people. Calvin, anybody else in here, do you have a team? Are you solo? Is it just you? We're going to talk about both for those people who are catching the recording. I know we have a lot of people that are watching this recording, so we have not forgot about you. We know you're here watching with us. So I am going to share this. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And I am going to share my screen. Hey Tara, are you set as a co-host? Just want to make sure that you're set as a co-host before we do that, because you're not showing up on my screen like you did yesterday where I can add you. Doesn't appear so. Okay, let's get you as a co-host. It's not giving me the option to add you as a co-host today. Yesterday when you popped in, it had the list of everybody that was in here. And today it's not showing me that. Oh, maybe I can do it up by your. There we go. I had to do it from your image. Okay, perfect. All right, we are ready to get rocking and rolling. And then next we are, after me, we're going to have Cheree Sauer coming up here. So, all right, drop in the chat if you guys can see my screen. So staying in alignment as an individual. Tara, Calvin, are you able to see my screen? Yes. All right. We are good to go. Okay. So we're going to be talking about discovering your genius. What does that mean? So when we talk about burnout, one of the ways that I help people through burnout, how I navigated burnout myself, is through really understanding where to spend my time and energy. For those of you who missed yesterday, my introduction, just a little bit about me to catch you up, just in case this is the only video you see of me. My background was sports medicine. I worked with high-performing athletes for 14 years. I ended up burnout in my career. I became a stay-at-home mom. Thought that it was gonna be cupcakes and rainbows, and ended up being miserable. Really got burnt out as a mom because I didn't really know or understand how to take care of myself. And then I started a business. And after 3 years of owning a gift box company, I found myself burnt out again. And the reason for that burnout was because I was not fulfilled in what I was doing. I was fulfilled in making connections with business owners and really supporting business owners and getting their products and services into a box. But everything that was required of me, of my time and energy, was nowhere in my strengths. I was not good at it. It required a lot of photography and a lot of tech and just things that were not in my natural strengths. And when I started that company, what I really wanted was to help women have transformation in their lives. The point of the box was to get them to take care of themselves, to understand how important it was to take care of themselves so they could take care of everybody else around them better. And it got to the point where I was just putting products and services in a box, and I wasn't really getting to see the transformation that people were having. And that is when I switched to coaching, because I really wanted to create transformation for people. And I understood that that business was not a great business for me because it required so much of what we're going to talk about. I didn't get to be in my zone of genius. A majority of what I was doing was in my zone of competence or incompetence. And so if you have ever read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, that's what this is not something I created. This is his, his model that he talks about. But I think it is so crucial for us as business owners. If we really want to 10x our growth, what that requires is for you to let go of 80% of what you're doing. Okay. Whether that's clients, whether it's stuff you're doing in your household, in your business. A majority of what business owners are doing, because they start as solopreneurs, they continue to keep doing. And so as they get into that like scale phase, that really growth phase, they get to the point where they're just putting out fires. They're tired, they're exhausted, they're wearing all of the hats, and they don't know how to shift out of that. And one of the ways to shift out of that is really through understanding your zone of genius and where you should be spending a majority of your time. So I'm going to walk through these and just break down what each of these are and what this looks like. And I would love for you guys just to write this down, just kind of think about what are the things that you're doing in your business that are not in your zone of genius. Okay, so first is zone of incompetence. These are the things, the tasks that you're doing that you really don't understand and you don't have the skills. Those things are easy to outsource and delegate to somebody else, right? We're willing to pay somebody else to do them because we can't do them. That's easy, right? And then we have zone of competence. You're okay at it, but others can do it better. And when we are first starting business, a lot of business owners, they end up having to do this because they don't have the money and the resources. And so a lot of the time and energy ends up getting spent in their zone of competence. And this is really where I was stuck a majority of the time when I had my gift box company. And then we have the zone of excellence. These are the things that you are extremely skilled at, but you do not enjoy. And I'll give you an example of a client of mine. She had a 6-figure marketing agency, and she was really feeling exhausted and burnt out. Part of it is because her worthiness was wrapped up in her achievement, right? But part of it was she was doing marketing because that's what she went to school for, and she was extremely gifted and good at it, but it was not bringing her joy or passion. She was no longer passionate about it. She was doing it because it was bringing money into the bank, right? And so as she realized what she really wanted to be doing was coaching, and she was really passionate about Enneagram, and you're actually going to hear her on this summit tomorrow, actually. She was so stuck in that zone of excellence. And this is what I find with a majority of business owners that are really feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, tapped out, burnt out. They're spending a majority of their time in their zone of excellence, especially if you're over 6 figures, you have the money, you've probably outsourced, delegated some things, but maybe you did it because it was out of desperation, or you hired, like, I just need help, right? You didn't really know who you were hiring or why you were hiring them. And because you're so extremely skilled at it, it's like, why would I pay somebody else to do that? I had a client, her name was Heather, and we do an energy assessment. And so I have our clients write down every single task they do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And we look at what are their biggest energy drainers. And we go down the list and we eliminate from there. Now, for her, social media, managing social media, she was good at it. She didn't mind doing it, but it was taking her about 2 hours a week. And she was like, "Ah, it's only 2 hours a week, not a big deal." And I'm like, "Yes, but 2 hours a week, that's 8 hours a month. What could you do with that time if you got that time back? One, you could take care of yourself better, right? That's the downfall of business owners is we are not great at taking care of ourselves. And it's so crucial in for you to have the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual rest to truly have performance, because eventually your body will give out. Um, and so we have to look at return on investment. Like, okay, with this 8 hours, could you take that 8 hours and go out and sell? She loved selling. She was really good at selling. That is going to bring in a lot more revenue and profit than her continuing to do it herself, right? She can pay a social media manager $400 a month, and she can go out and earn thousands of dollars a month because she's good at sales. So write down, drop in the chat, what are the things that you're doing that you are extremely skilled at, you don't mind doing, but somebody else could do it, right? We really want to get you to the point where you are only doing the things that only you can do. We really want to get you from that owner to an actual CEO, right? If you're ready for that, if that's the place you're at. If you're not, that's okay. This can still be just as valuable for you as you start to think about outsourcing, automating, delegating, really looking at this and understanding where you should be spending your time and energy. Okay, so zone of genius. Those are the things, the tasks that you would do all day, every day if you could. Like me, sign me up for coaching, sign me up for teaching it. I would do it all day, every day if I could. Ask me to post on social media, do social media content, not my favorite thing. That's why I have a business partner, Tara. She does all of that for us. So really understand who can you collaborate with, who can you connect with, who can you get in your sphere that can help bridge the gap in the areas that you maybe are missing. Let me check the chat here. Calvin says outsourcing prospecting. Calvin, is that in reference to that those are the things in your zone of excellence that you're doing? I'm assuming that's what that was referencing. Prospecting, marketing, as in social media, connecting. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, if you're in that place where you're like, ooh, I don't really have the money and finances to do it, or maybe you do, but like you're afraid to let it go, right? That's where it sometimes takes an outside perspective to go, let's look at the return on investment, right? So if we talk about, we're going to move on here. I just want to make sure we stay on topic. We're going to talk about working genius as well. So this is what I like to do for teams. So organizations that have team members of 10 or less, you can use this in any organization. That's just who I specifically work with. And you can use this as an individual as well, but it works really well for a team because you can see these little gears here. So if you've never heard of Working Genius, it was created by Patrick Lencioni, and he kept finding that he was starting businesses, he was doing different roles, and he would end up grumpy and exhausted, and he couldn't figure out why. And so after diving into this with his team and really assessing what their team was really good at, they came up with this model. So it's kind of a cross between like a personality assessment and productivity, right? To really get your team working in their strengths where they really find joy and love. Because if you can do that, you won't have to work so hard to motivate people or to motivate yourself. So we're going to go over this really quickly, but basically the way that this works, everybody has two working geniuses, two working frustrations, and two working geniuses, two working competencies, and two working frustrations. So they're out of this acronym here, which stands for wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. Everybody has two areas where they have a genius here, two competencies and two frustrations. And so with Patrick Lencioni, what he discovered is that his competency was galvanizing. So he was good at it, but it wasn't his genius. And so he was always having to motivate people, like rally them to do what they needed to do. And it was exhausting and frustrating for him. If you're a parent and you find yourself exhausted from telling your kids, like, get your shoes on, do this, and that's so frustrating for you, galvanizing is not in your genius. If you're like, yes, I'm good at that, like I run a kindergarten class, right? Galvanizing is probably in your genius. So you can see that it says ideation, activation, implementation. So each of those these geniuses, they fit within a phase of business, right? So we need our wonders, our inventors, our Elon Musk, the people that have these like crazy ideas that think, how can I do this better? Those are usually your owners. Those are people that are really good at coming up with ideas. Okay, and then activation, discernment, and galvanizing. These are your people, your discerners, and actually I'll share the next slide and we'll kind of walk through each of these. So the genius of wonder, they really ponder the possibility and see new opportunities. And then invention, they actually create original and new ideas. And then discernment is, those are your people who they intuitively, like they just know gut wise, like, yes, this is a great idea, or no, this is not. And so those are your people when me, I'm of the wonder and invention, and I go, oh my gosh, I have this brilliant idea. And a team member goes, I see it, but I see these problems, I see these holes. I don't think that's a good idea. Listen to those people because they intuitively just know. Like my husband, he intuitively just knows things, and I'm a little bit jealous if I'm being honest. And so I will usually seek his advice with something that I'm like, I'm not really sure, because I tend to be in my head a lot. And then we have galvanizing. Those are your people that are going to rally and inspire. They're going to organize others to take action. You need these people. So ideally on a team, we want everybody on your team to have at least one genius in each area in an ideal world, right? Tara and I, we only have two of us, so it is what it is right now. But as you grow and you scale, if you have a team, this is really important to understand. And then enablement. These are your people that are going to encourage and assist others. So I come up with the idea, and then our enablers, they're going to encourage and insist, how can I help? What can I do? And then the genius of tenacity. These are your people that are going to push projects or tasks to completion to achieve results. You need these people on your team. Again, I have the genius of wonder and invention. I have all of these ideas, but executing them and actually getting them done to completion, not my strength. That's where Tara comes in. I come up with the ideas, she kind of evaluates them, and then she pushes them through. So when you can really understand what your genius is, and you can actually go and take this assessment, it's $25, go to workinggenius.com. And it will tell you what each of your genius, your competency, and your frustrations are. We actually went into a team and did this with one of our clients. They have a team of 5. And what we do is we have them write down all of the tasks they do, and then they have to scale them on 1 to 5. 5, super energizing, love it, would do it all day, every day. 1, hate it. Anything that's below a 3, we want to get off of their plate. And at this particular organization, one of their employees, she was working in a majority of her tasks, 90% of her tasks were in her working frustration. Like, that's exhausting. Eventually, people get burnt out doing that. The same is true for you as a business owner. If you are doing things that are in your frustration, you're going to get burnt out real quick. Now, competency. Again, you're good at it, you can do it, but if you are spending a majority of your time there, eventually you're going to get exhausted and cranky. So just understand that really, to overcome burnout, to stay motivated, to really thrive and be high performance for yourself or for your team, these are just a couple tools that I really love using with people. If you want to talk more about this, if you're curious about this and you're like, oh, I'm not really sure what I should do, we are All next week, I set aside time and we're doing burnout strategy assessment calls. We can talk about this if you have teams or if it's just you. This is a big piece of understanding how do we move forward in that, whether you want to prevent burnout, overcome burnout, or you are just really curious more about this. Make sure you grab that link. It's a 30-minute complimentary call that we usually charge for, and happy to do that with you guys as for being here, a part of this summit.